Hello, welcome to Freedom March. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Levan Miller, and you're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, on channel 224, on channel 112, that's on cable, or on Flow TV, or on ILTV Studios, that's over there on Facebook. There's a whole lot of things that continues to happen in and around New Providence. I want to do this as early as I can because at no point do I want to forget this in the show. I am inviting the former chairman of the Beaches and Parks Authority, or the Public Parks and Beaches Authority. They change these names around so often I can't quite remember what the names are. But I'm inviting the former chairman of the Public Parks and Beaches Authority, the Honorable Shannon Cartwright, to please come and defend yourself. I laid down in my bed last evening and I thought to myself that if someone had called into a national television program, if someone had called into an internationally televised program, because people tell me in China that they're listening to me, right? And if someone had called into that show that people in China could listen to and called me a liar, I would sleep on the phone, I would not drink water, I wouldn't even pee until that show came back on and I could get an opportunity to refute that claim. Here is why. In life, you can be a lying lawyer and no one will care. But if you are going to be a public figure, if you're going to be someone in public office, if you're going to be a public accountant, if you're going to be anyone that is in need of public trust, a preacher, a counselor, etc., 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 because I'm not really sure what Shannon Orn's real job is, you have to have public trust. And the one way to erode public trust is for someone to publicly call you a liar and for you to offer no refute to that claim. And so I thought to myself, because I don't want people to say that I'm a bastion boy for the PLP and that I'm toting water for the PLP, because the one thing I can guarantee you is I'm not a PLP. At some point in my life, I wanted to be an FNM. But at this point in my life, the only thing I'm interested in now is being an FNA. However, notwithstanding that, because of my affinity and my love for the Free National Movement, I want to give their deputy an opportunity to erase from the public record the fact that someone that occupied a chair that he also occupied called into a nationally televised program and called him a liar. Shannon Orn, you've got to repair that. You've got to at least refute it. And so I want to invite you here early to please defend your name. Don't move. Freedom March will be right back. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us through the break. I'm Levan Miller. And can I say Happy National Flag Day? Is that what it's called? Happy National Flag Day. There, I said it. The spiritual role, the spiritual advisor.
Which is my role.
Which is his role.
Right. And I am a role.
Who named Bradley Role.
Right.
It's with me in studio, spiritual advisor. Welcome to Freedom March.
Thank you so much, Levi. Good to be here. Today is National Flag Day.
National Flag Day.
But you do have on a color that represents the flag, don't you?
Well, you have on a color that represents the flag too.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, your jacket and shirt is the same color as this Bahamas.
Right.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, we want to be prideful. We can't let the Frenchman outdo us because when the Frenchman out
or
there,
the Greek man, or the Spanish man,
or the Chinese man,
or the white people them.
Because whenever they have their flag day, they go all out. So my hats off to all those who I saw today wearing their Bahamian colors or shirts in honor of Bahamian Flag Day.
Right.
My hats off to you.
Indeed.
Indeed. Absolutely.
So, spiritual advisor, I know that you go every day into the belly of the Holy Scripture.
The belly is correct.
And you come out of the belly of the Holy Scripture and you say to us, what thus saith Holy Scripture?
And that's one of the reasons why you better believe that when I do this and I call certain people's names or denominations, they don't ever come back at me.
Wow.
Because they have to go to the Red Bible and examine exactly what has been said.
Right.
And if they take issue, I always tell them to call me.
You invite them to call you?
Yes, 814-6096.
Wow.
But what is interesting is none of the preachers call me. Remember we had that debate on the word reverend? And no preacher called me. You know why? Because they know I'm right. It is. The word reverend is only once in the entire 66 books of the Bible, and it makes no reference to man. It only makes reference to God. But here's what we're going to do today, though. This will be interesting. You know, when we were growing up, our parents would take us to church on Sunday. And, of course, there are some parents who would take their...
On Saturday.
Right.
Those are Sabbath-keeping people.
Right. So, you know, I wonder if folks ever wonder, why do some people go to church on Saturday and why some go on Sunday? What is the significance in this? And the folks who do it on Saturday say the people who do it on Sunday have a problem.
Right.
Because you don't see nowhere in Scripture where Sunday is a holy day, and that is true.
Right.
You won't see Sunday in the Ten Commandments. This is true. Because in the Ten Commandments, the fourth commandment, God told the Israelites, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That is in the Ten Commandments. And it is the fourth commandment. And Saturday, which starts at sundown Friday evening to sundown Saturday evening, that's one complete 24-hour period. And that is where you fit the 7-day Sabbath day rest. So the Jews today who still, and of course those Sabbatarians who keep Saturday, they're absolutely correct in their time. Sundown Friday evening, the sundown Saturday evening, and after the sun sets on Saturday evening, then they go about their regular business.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that. Keep going.
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
If Jesus get mad at me for going to the mall on Saturday, I don't want to be with Jesus no more.
And then as time progresses.
I like grace.
Yeah. But I can tell you it's nothing like it.
Yeah.
But what is interesting is there are some businesses in the Bahamas that actually shut down.
Yeah, I know those businesses.
That's how serious they are about keeping that fourth commandment.
Indeed.
That wasn't given to them in the first place.
Right.
All right, because then we can prove that the Ten Commandments was only given to the Israelites.
But the Sabbath has a whole lot to do with the replenishment of the earth. You remember, you would let the seeds that fell to the ground on the Sabbath day stay on the ground, etc., just so that the earth could be replenished. I mean, there are so many implications that you could gather from it.
Right, but that fourth commandment in the Ten Commandments was given to the Israelites, and it was strictly a rest day.
Right.
They didn't do anything.
Because they were slaves.
Yeah.
They needed to rest.
Right. They used to be slaves in Egypt. As a matter of fact, we're going to look at that as we progress in our talk about this. And the scriptures don't give is just for information so you can look at it yourself.
Sure.
And what God did when he brought them out of Egypt, he told them, he said, listen, I want you to remember that you were slaves in Egypt. And that I brought you out of Egypt with a mighty hand and outstretched arm. And so for this reason, I'm going to give you a day to rest on.
Right. Because you need this as a slave.
Yes. Because they were enslaved in Egypt for 400
years.
Yeah.
Right.
You can imagine the taskmasters had them working 24/7.
And they was building pyramids.
Every day. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And so when he brought them out of Egypt, he gave them a day to rest on. That happened to see this. That happened to be the same day where he did no work at all. All the creation was finished by the sixth day.
Right.
Everything that God had to do as far as creation is concerned stopped on the sixth day.
Sure.
And so the seventh day was a day that nothing happened. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. I know when I was growing up, my father took us to church, but I never really examined why we go to church on Sunday, to be honest with you. I never really examined it. I just, accepted it because, I thought it was, a tradition, a good tradition. And I never really examined it until I became a member of the Church of Christ. And then the Church of Christ took me through a series of lessons, get me to understand why Christians meet on Sunday versus the seventh day. So does this first day of the week meeting have any authorization in Scripture? Is there a pattern? Do we see the disciples keeping this day? And it's not a rest day. The first day of the week is not a holy day. The first day of the week is more a memorial day than it is a rest day, because there's nothing in the New Testament that commands you that you have to keep Sunday and you got to rest on it and so on and so forth. There's no command for that. But we do see a pattern. And here's one of those passages. We're going to look at two passages today. In Acts 27, the author here says, now, on the first day of the week, this is a day after the Sabbath. All right? It says, now on the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread. This is what they did specifically when they came together. Paul, ready to depart the next day, spoke to them and continued his message until midnight. So on the first day of the week, there was this breaking of bread here. We're gonna examine this more closely as time progresses. You're gonna see this breaking bread here is specific to the Lord's Supper, because you see the two words there, break bread. The two Greek words here, you will find these very same two Greek words in Matthew 26:28 when Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper. So we know for a fact that on the first day of the week, the disciples came together to break bread. And look at the word when. It shows a frequency. Now, on the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread. So this is something that they always did when they came together. They break bread. And Paul, of course, ready to depart the next day, spoke to them and continued his message until midnight. That's fact number one. Acts 27, get your red Bible and mark it. Now let's go to this other passage, and then we'll continue tomorrow. In 1 Corinthians 16, 1 and 2, you notice on Sunday that you have a collection, which is okay. This is fine. Because Paul, now writing to the church at Corinth, he gives them this very simple command. He says, now, concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given orders to the churches of Galatia, so you must do also. I want you to pay attention to the word in here. He says, as I have given orders to the church of Galatia. So this same order that he's given them here in 1 Corinthians 16, 1 and 2, he's also given it to the churches of Galatia. So there's a pattern. He says, on the first day of the week, which is the day after the Sabbath, which is Sunday, let each one of you lay something aside, storing up as he may prosper, that there be no collections when they come. So the collection for the saints would have had to been taken up, so that when Paul came, these collections could then be put together and taken, of course, to the churches that had need. So here's this part now where we see the collection is also done. Why is the collection done on the first day of the week? Why the first day of the week? You know why? Because the disciples came together on this day specifically for the breaking of bread. And while they are breaking bread, it is very convenient for the churches that needed help that the collection also be done on that very same day. So you see the pattern? And we're going to look at some more scriptures that you probably never saw in the New Testament, and where I would actually prove to you that the first day of the week was the day that the first century Christians came together specifically for a few things. It is not a rest day. And there's no command that says, remember Sunday and keep it holy. No, that's not in the New Testament. All right? But there is a pattern in the New Testament where we see the disciples coming together specifically for two reasons that I've shown today. And that is, of course, to break bread. And then, of course, the collection for the saints.
But Paul didn't always take an offering from the church, did he?
No, not for himself personally.
I think until Corinthians.
He had a talent, you know. I think he was a tent maker.
No, so I think there was at one point, I don't remember the exact scripture, but I remember there was at one point Paul said to, I think it was either the Church of Corinth or the Church of Galatia.
It had to be them that he said he didn't want to,
and he
be
said,
a burden to them because he
came and he
worked
said,
with his own hands.
He said, when I couldn't come to you, I sent Timothy. And when Timothy couldn't come, I sent Titus to you so that you would not be neglected in the faith. He said, but then they have some fellas that come behind me that call themselves super apostles. And that Paul,
I will look at that.
I do not recognize those super apostles. Paul said, and you take up offering for them.
Okay.
So you know something, from the day on, in this church, let's take up a little offering and do a little something for Paul, eh? And I think that
I'll have to examine that.
Check it. Yeah, you'll find it's in there at some point.
I'll have to check the Red Bible.
Yeah. And I like the way you add the scripture. I know the story. I don't know the scripture.
Okay.
But I know where the story.
I'll find it.
Because Paul said, when I run aground on the Isle of Patmos, I was so concerned about you all that I sent someone to preach to you all. And when they locked me up in jail, I still sent someone to preach to you all. As a Roman, they put me in jail and beat me, and I sent someone to preach to you all, so that your soul wouldn't be lost. But you all let these two fellas come here and say they're super apostles. Paul said, when I was walking with Jesus, I never seen none of them. So how they get so super?
It is in the book of Corinthians.
Yeah, that's Corinthians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Paul said, so from the day on, my brother, you all take a little offering in this church and come see me, eh?
I'll find the story to see if it matches what you're saying.
I love Paul. Yeah. It's perfect. He's a perfect guy.
Yeah, so that's the, there's this back and forth. Mm-hmm. There's been this back and forth for centuries about the Sabbath versus the first day of the week. And guess what is interesting? The Sabbath, you'll find in the Old Testament, and then, of course, the first day of the week, you find the New Testament. So the first day of the week is attached to the New Testament, and, of course, the seventh-day Sabbath is attached to the Mosaic Law, the Ten Commandments.
Sure.
That is, of course, under Judaism.
Indeed.
So there is a distinct difference. You have your Red Bible. Your Red Bible has two covenants. It has an Old Covenant and has a New Covenant. So you'll see the fourth commandment in the Old Covenant, and then, of course, you'll see the first day of the week in the New Testament. Anyhow, thank you so much, producer. The Word of God is forever.
And thank you. And thank you very much, spiritual advisor, for continuing to bring us Holy Scripture.
Absolutely.
Because, what are we without the Word of God, eh?
I tell you, lost.
Yeah.
Eternally without it.
Yeah. Seek ye first the kingdom.
And
all of its righteousness.
Everything
will be added
unto you.
Oh, hallelujah.
Seek first.
I feel my church of God flaring up in me.
First and foremost.
Indeed. And so we get the Holy Scripture in. We don't get it out of the way. We get it in, and then we
everything else after that.
Then we go to things of carnality and flesh. And so with that said, I want to go straight to the clip from Jamal Moss. I see Jamal Moss is saying that he would have been the better candidate in South Beach. Well, let me tell you what Levan Miller thinks. I think that is the absolute most unfounded statement I've ever heard, ever made in a public space. While I disagree with the nomination of Darren Henfield in South Beach, while I think that South Beach and Darren Henfield should act with one another like the devil does to holy water, and that them two should never be anywhere connected, particularly because Darren can't do hurricanes good, and South Beach is the most hurricane exposed area in New Providence. I think he ought to shy away from it and go into Bamboo Town and not come into South Beach. Despite my thinking that, though, no one could ever convince me that a military commander and decorated Naval Britannia Royal Naval College trained naval officer who also has training in law and in international law, I think it is in business, isn't an ideal candidate. He's versatile. He has experience in the Senate. He has experience in the executive of the Bahamas. For whatever it's worth, he knows how to match his shoes with his belt. I think that he makes a wonderful candidate. He's a family man and someone that has a good religious underpinning. He's not just a father, he's a grandfather now. And so under no circumstance would I ever assume that if all I were doing were weighing candidates, that Jamal Moss would be a better candidate than Darren Henfield. And the reason I'm arguing these things is because I hear these same silly arguments when they talk about people like Lincoln Deal versus Michael Barnett. What exactly do we measure when someone says something like, I would be the better candidate? I don't get that. Now, we can argue over whether or not you were a better member of parliament. We can argue about whether or not you would be a better member of parliament. But my friend, pound for pound, man for man, if all we counting is skin, Darren Henfield looks immaculate on a piece of paper. Now, I will tell you this. As someone that has survived the Maccabee, I also know that sometimes the things that look very good on paper might kill you. And I say that to you as a resuscitated Maccabee recoverer. That sometimes the thing that looks shiny, sometimes the thing that looks sterling, sometimes the thing that just looks like something you cannot live without is the one thing that will cut your Achilles heel, my friend. And so, yes, Darren Henfield was a catastrophe, if you ask my opinion, in North Abaco. His response to Dorian was disastrous, if you're asking my opinion. The entire cabinet responded. I don't even know if sophomoric is sufficient to describe the level of ineptitude we saw during that period. But what I will tell you, my childhood friend, well, my childhood schoolmate, is that pound for pound on a piece of paper, my brother, Darren Henfield looks like a better candidate. And but for the fact that I know that he's horrible at handling hurricanes, I would be in here shaking pom-poms and throwing confetti in the air for a nomination like Darren Henfield. And so when I hear you say things like you've canvassed the area, I'm trying to figure out which area, because I've been canvassing the area and I never see you. I've also never seen Darren. So when exactly did all this canvassing happen? When exactly did you all go to and fro in a... Because South Beach ain't no chop chicken liver, beloved. South Beach is a big deal. And we've proven time and time again that South Beach is one of the very few constituencies in this country that has its thumb directly on the pulse of the electoral undertones of this country. As goes South Beach, so goes the election. And so when you say things to me like I would be the better candidate, I want you all to stop making up these bunch of hocus pocus estimations. How do we quantify this statement? That's what I'm going to talk about when we get back on the next side of the break. You can't just say I would be better. What do we use to measure it? We'll talk about that when we get back on the next side of the break.
This segment of Freedom March is brought to you by Modernistic Garden and Pet Supply. For top quality dog food, shop online at modernisticgarden.com or visit our Palmdale, Carmichael, and Mullet Marathon locations today.
Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you for staying with us through the break. I'm Leland Miller. Bradley Roll is with me in studio, and you're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM. Spiritual advisor?
The Work Center, located Rosetta Street across from Roberts Furniture, is your one-stop shop for back to school, Dickies, Timberlands, and many, many more. So come on down and let their friendly staff assist you with getting ready for back to school. Are your dogs hungry and tired of low-quality food? Give them the best at Modernistic. We carry all the top brands, Taste of the Wild, Diamond Naturals, Victor, and Luke Shook at the lowest prices in town. If you're on a budget, we've got 50-pound bags starting at just $49. And for a limited time, buy any large bag of dog food and get a $10 coupon redeemable on select dog toys and treats. If you can't make it in, shop online at www.modernisticgarden.com and we'll deliver right to your door. Your pet deserves quality, your wallet deserves savings. Shop in store or shop online today. Hurry, offer won't last. Thank you, producer.
Thank you very much, spiritual advisor. And so, again, I go on with my assessment of who the candidates are in the row for South Beach. And all I can say is, while I do not have any way to measure it, I don't think they have any way to measure it. It is almost like those people, spiritual advisor, that say silly things to me like, if the member of parliament doesn't give me the contract, I'm going to see to it that 400 or 500 people doesn't vote for him. And how in the name of God will you accomplish that? How exactly do you intend to accomplish that? How exactly can the member of parliament verify that? Perry Christie says that he lost by 4 votes, and he knows exactly which 4 that was. He cousins under the tree. But how does he know? There's no way to know. And so when they tell me these things about I'm a general, I'm a crown general, the people want me, how do you all measure this stuff? And so when you say something like, I would be the better person, I mean, what are we looking at? Are we looking at a CV? How exactly are we coming to this conclusion? Anyway, so here's the clip from Jamal, and here's what he thought after he was ousted by the South Beach Constituency Association.
I felt as though I'm a better person. I felt as though I would be the better person for the job, but like I said, the party made a decision, and I just got to accept and maybe just move on. But persons in South Beach, I guess a lot of them wasn't aware of what transpired on Thursday when the party made a decision. So, but a lot of persons, when they saw it on paper or on social media, a lot of persons called me and asked me, sure, I said, yeah, it's true. The party did make a decision last week, Thursday. Mr. Henfield, Senator Henfield was ratified, and he's going to be moving forward in your area, and so they were shocked by it, and felt as though it should have been me.
And so the question I have is, Jamal, which people in South Beach said this? The association? I mean, because I often wonder about how useful that is. I feel the same way about constituency associations as I feel about financial officers in the public service.
I think he's saying, I think there's a problem here.
What is the problem?
He's saying the constituency wanted him, is that the party...
Who in the constituency?
The party decided that they...
Who in the constituency?
Well, you'll have to ask him.
That's the question I'm asking.
Mind you, I think I saw something in social media where the constituency says that they are really upset that the leadership of the Free National Movement decided that they didn't want to run Jamal Moss.
But based on what?
I don't know. Well, they're saying that shouldn't be. That the party should not go against the actual desire.
That's fine, but he also said that he's seen that there's been times when the association has picked someone and the executive has picked something else, yes? So it's not abnormal, But I'm saying to you, for you to come right out of the gate smoking and say that I would be the better candidate.
That's fine.
What?
You can't get mad at him for that. He's
you cannot just
fella.
claim, spiritual advisor.
Why not?
You cannot just make a claim.
Listen.
Claims have to be
That's
verified.
That's fine.
Other than that, they are scurrilous.
I bet your mind
They are
on that.
vexatious at
guess
times. You cannot just make a claim.
If me and another man in a race, as far as I'm concerned, I bet him until he beat
Spiritual
me.
advisor, you 5'2", that automatically would take you out of some races.
Well, it all depends.
So there's some races that you're not a better man for.
Well, I can tell you in the short man race, I'm the better person.
And I imagine you could win the backside kicking competition too if you had 2 legs. But 2 short legs wouldn't make you the best candidate.
Boy, you'd be surprised to know what 2 short legs can do. Two short legs can kick you down.
You might be
You
right.
believe that?
But what if I have a high backside? You might can't get your short leg to
That's
my
all
high
right.
backside.
And what you do is you flip on your hands and prance and up in there you go, boom.
And so, I just don't understand. If you are comparing yourself to a Britannia Royal Naval College trained, decorated naval officer, family man of 39 years, married to the same one wife, because that's a huge accomplishment in the Bahamas, with all your children for that one woman, and all your children now having decent grandchildren, and you've been a cornerstone of your religious organization, then technically on a piece of paper you look fantastic. So how does Jamal make this?
You can't you can't be mad at him for that though. The man says,
you cannot just claim I'm the better candidate. Based on what? Because 6 people from a constituency association, 3 of which that probably don't come outside, because I've never seen any of them. I don't. The people of South Beach said they wanted you. Which people of South Beach?
well, you'll have to find out from him.
You been by the Butterfields down
Well,
in
he's
Poland
fine.
Division number 7?
In all honesty,
You been by the Curtises in Poland Division number 3?
Yeah, I mean-
Did you go by the Millers in Poland Division number 5 or the Rolls in
Well,
Poland
listen,
Division number 5?
you-
Who did you go to?
yeah, you should speak with Jamal Moss personally. I don't know if this attack on him is fair, right?
Well, I don't
Because
think that him saying I'm the best candidate is fair. You
Why
can't
not?
just make that claim.
I mean, see now, let me tell you, and I understand that the other candidate was a former Defense Force officer, and I can understand the tie between you two, right? But then you can't get mad at Jamal. Jamal said, listen, I bet on you. It is, that's the way he feels.
Okay.
All right? The fellow from Ilutra said he coming back, he could be the prime minister. Okay.
Okay.
That's like, as crazy as it sounds.
And all I'm saying is pork
You
chop
know?
late at nighttime is never proven to be a good thing.
He says he's a better man.
And so because politics makes such strange bedfellows, I see my friend Richard Johnson has come to the aid of one Jamal Moss. I keep calling these people my friends, but okay. And I see that he's come to attack Hubert Ingram.
What Richard saying?
And he's attacked Michael Pintard. But I also remember when Richard Johnson was a ardent supporter of Michael Pintard.
Until they drop kick him.
But all that strange bedfellows do politics make. I've said that to you before.
Yeah, they shouldn't have drop kicked Richard though. That was,
Strange, but
That
and
was a-
all
that
I
was a
want to
nice-
know
that was
is
a
how is Richard now defending Jamal because Jamal wouldn't be nominated, and I don't get it. At some point in politics, spiritual advisor, people have got to be able to plot a linear course of what your what do you call it? Convictions were. Like our dear friend and brother, the late Senator Rodney Munker. Hang murderers.
simple as that.
If you ask him 2 o'clock in the morning, if you ask him at a banquet, if you ask him at a church fair, if you ask him on a march, you could ask that to Rodney Munker while he was giving birth to one of his children. And his answer for crime is linear. Hang murderers. How is it that the conviction of these people seem so all over the place? Anyway, strange bedfellows do politics make. And so I see the Democratic National Alliance. We have the clip from the Democratic National Alliance. The Democratic National Alliance is saying that they're going to sit this electoral cycle out. Why? Because they do not have the money. They assume it's going to take $10 million to contend an election. And quite honestly, where they have been left, it's just simply no way that they could contest the next general election reasonably and offer a viable third
Do
party.
still exist?
Indeed, they have a leader. His name is Mr. Nesbitt.
Really?
So he was interviewed yesterday by Eyewitness News. Do we have the clip of him? He was interviewed by Eyewitness News yesterday. And what I want to say, while we get the clip ready, is I am now firmly convinced in my mind.
The DNA still exists?
That Orinthia Komalafi was a sleeper cell.
The DNA and the FNA is the same thing, eh?
No, sir. No, they're not. I am firm in my belief that Hubert Alexander Ingram siphoned Orinthia Komalafi off from the PLP, inserted her into the DNA as a sleeper agent to decimate.
Destroy it?
Yeah, because remember, the DNA destroyed Hubert Ingram.
Yeah,
the DNA
they gave the PLP
put the nail in Hubert Ingram's coffin. It retired him.
Yeah.
And so, because Papa will never be outdone, and because I'm an Ingramite and I love to watch the masterful hands of Hubert Ingram, I am now firmly convinced, based on what I see, that Orinthia Komalafi was sent to the DNA as a sleeper agent. And that she has done exactly what Papa wanted her to do to that party.
And how's she doing?
She went in, she convinced them that she was the great white hope. She had absolutely no plan to ever lead them into any victory.
So she led them down the path of destruction.
She led them straight into destruction. And just when she realized the ship was about to hit the rock, she jumped off the boat and jumped onto a dinghy called the FNM. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that as a leader of the party,
I don't know if you want to call the FNM a dinghy because
the only person she took with her, the only person she took with her was her teacup token boy. Nobody else. This whole party existed. And the only person that went with her is the one fella that wouldn't stop following her up and down. Nobody else. And you were the leader.
So who's following her?
I don't even know his name. But what I know is that none of the people that participated in the process and believed in your message gone with you, right? You haven't negotiated or brokered any deal for anybody else. The only semblance of the DNA under your leadership that exists is you. And guess where that is? Guess where that is? Aboard the dinghy known as the FNM. Because when you realized that your boat was running aground and taking on water, you just jumped straight on the FNM's dinghy. And now guess where you are, safe and sound. While poor Brother Nesbitt, you have the clip from Brother Nesbitt from the DNA? Listen to what poor Brother Nesbitt had to say.
It's not the position you typically hear from a third party ahead of an election. They're usually the most hopeful and optimistic about their chances. But Democratic National Alliance leader Stephen Nesbitt says he and the party's executive council have made the hard decision to sit this one out, underscoring the real hardships associated with starting and maintaining a political party in the Bahamas.
But we don't have the money, my sister, and I don't have that type of the testosterone or testicles to send my people out there, knowing that they're going to lose.
The party burst onto the scene in 2012 under the leadership of former FNM MP Branville McCartney, but took a beating at the polls for 3 consecutive elections. The last race in 2021 was fought under then-leader Orinthia Komalafi, who resigned just 3 months after that election, having shouldered the party's finances, communication strategy, and operations almost single-handedly. She was recently asked about the DNA following her ratification as the FNM's pick for Carmichael.
I wish everybody well, but of course at the end of the day, I want the win column to say that FNM Carmichael is there and that all of my colleagues are there and the FNM is restored to office.
Since 2021, the party has faced even more setbacks, including the death of 2 key members, former deputy chair Hilary DeVoe and faithful supporter and financier Chris Mortimer. Nesbitt says the DNA considered merging with other third parties, but again, funding remained a major hurdle.
We calculate at least $10 million minimum to launch a national campaign.
And McCartney and Komalafi aren't the only notable names to have walked through the DNA doors. Current National Security Minister Wayne Munro and former FNM MP Mark Humes were also once affiliated. Nesbitt revealed the party even reached out to Humes following the 2021 election.
Right 2 days after the election, myself and his entire team met with him. Came in, wanted to, okay, say y'all talk with me. I don't mind coming in, but y'all gonna make me leader. I was like, you can join the party, but how you mean we will make you leader?
He says the DNA has also grown wary of the toxicity and mudslinging that's come to define the political landscape, something the party doesn't support and won't engage in. But Nesbitt says this isn't the end, just a moment to regroup, promising that the DNA will be back and stronger.
And so, I'm convinced that Hubert Ingram has struck again.
No, but at least Komalafi in 2021, she showed where she had what is called the decency to resign after losing
half of the base.
You see what I'm saying?
No.
So she did the right thing, though.
Half of the base.
Yeah, but
after being beaten by the COI,
but she was decent about what she did.
No.
Most leaders, if you're a decent leader,
no.
basically
But why she didn't resign when she lose the first time?
Well, I guess she wanted to give it another try.
She wanted to give it another try.
But this time in 2021,
she wanted to make sure that there was no pulse before she got off the ship.
Well,
she wanted to make sure that there was no chance of resuscitating.
I don't know if that's okay. I don't know.
But I will tell you this: play my jingle. You play my jingle. I want to tell you something. Hubert Alexander Minnis. You see how he put up? No, don't play the jingle yet. Show me the picture with Minnis and Pintat. You see, Minnis say, "My brother, if you touch my hand, that'll be the last time you ever get to wash two hands. I'll tell you that right now. If you let that hand touch my hand, beloved, you will only be washing one hand from the day on. Right? But I'll tell you this. You hear they say the DNA need money. Well, guess who got money? Hubert Alexander Ingram. Minnis. Guess who else got money? Branville McCartney. Guess who else got money? All their friends and all the people that joined Minnis out by the place the other day to unwind on a Friday.
200.
And so, you only need more than that.
That's a big
You only need more than 200 people with money to form a party.
See, the thing about that now is what that did for Dr. Minnis, it made him think that he still could be leader.
And all he got to do is go pick up the party that destroyed the one person who he destroyed, which was Hubert Ingram. Remember, he was the one that said the Ingram era was over. And Mr. Ingram has been trying to get him back ever since. And while I'm a Papa boy, all I want to say is I still think Minnis up one on Ingram. And so, Dr. Minnis, all you have to do is go get your cousin Branville McCartney, tell Kwesi Thompson right before the election, resign from the FNM, and come over here. You got my song, be a FNA. They say all we need is $10 million. Well, guess who got $10 million? Hubert Alexander Minnis. And you could come this way because the DNA didn't got constitution. They ain't got no office or Rinty also mess that up. And we could be the FNA.
Cause we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. Tell them take the FNM, we ain't one of them. And the PLP is a gangster party. The COI is a party made up by just one guy. So if you wanna go all the way, come go with the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. When they shout PLP, just say no way. You're going with us in the FNA. The FNM done lost their way, and we don't play, we vote in FNA. The COI have a plan, they say, but the best plan is to go with the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play.
And so that is the plan.
That's the best part of the FNA right there, that jingle.
That is the plan, Dr. Minnis. Tell Michael Pintat, Minnis say, my brother, if you touch my hand, you will never clap in church again.
But the FNA and the DNA should unite. You got the same colors.
Absolutely.
That's the
no,
thing.
these green polka dot.
You got the same color. So if the FNA, the DNA, and the COI, maybe the three parties should come together.
See, now you want something. Now you want something. Because Lincoln being could be there. You have Lincoln being there. And you see Lincoln Bain had a launch. So I see Lincoln Bain had a launch, since you call his name. Let's go to the story with Lincoln Bain.
The coalition of independent supporters turned out in full force on Saturday, decked out in their party's colors for the official opening of the COI headquarters at the Carroll Roll building off of West Bay Street. The space was blessed by Pastor Aquino Monca of Revolution Church, ushering in with leaders calling for a new era for the party. Party leader Lincoln Bain told supporters that it has been a long time coming, but worth the wait, as he renewed his call for the support of the Bahamian voters ahead of the next general election.
And 5 days, they're watching the clock. In 2 weeks and 5 days, everything you see, we did. There was no ceiling in here. There was no electrical. There was no nothing. We put the paint on the walls. There was no AC in here. We can be efficient. They choose to not be efficient because the only thing they're efficient in is taking money from the treasury. If we could take some dollar drive money and do this, give us one term. Only one. And you will never want the PLP and F&M again. Just one term. And you can see. Because we ain't empower ourselves, we can empower you.
Yeah. And so you could imagine if we had that kind of dynamism behind the FNA, that kind of dynamism, he would minister $10 million. My party and the party with Arintia imploded, roll into this. We would be a mighty machine, my friend. We would be the FNA, and we don't play.
So apparently it seems as if the COI may be a spoiler in this election.
Oh, I don't know. But
yeah,
all I'm
the
saying
same thing
is,
would happen with the DNA. I think may happen this election.
But who does that hurt?
And it may cause the F&M to win.
Okay. And pork chop late at nighttime is something that is bound to make you dyspeptic.
Something just came into my head just now.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a prophet.
Yeah.
I'm not a prophet.
No.
But I can predict that the COI is going to be a spoiler.
Wow.
And the COI is going to cause the F&M to win.
Well, the COI already take away from the F&M. That's why y'all only got 6 seats. Remember, y'all had 7.
This is interesting. Remember the DNA did that.
Yeah, they caused the F&M to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's something to think
But
about.
anyway, I also heard that over the course of the weekend, the COI had that launch. The spiritual advisor says that there were 200 people there. Police reports have confirmed to me that it was 250 people. And I understand that there was some ruckus about police actions in and around the area. And so I got on foot and I did some probing around. And here is what I found. Here are some things that I can confirm. Police do VCPs in the area of that headquarters, I can tell you, at least 2 days of the week, and I won't call the 2 days, but I've seen a bit of consistency with the 2 days a week that they do it. My understanding is VCPs were planned for the day in question. The crowd gathering into the area caused there to be a swell in the vehicle population. The swell in the vehicle population created a congestion of some sort. The congestion of some sort, in the view of the senior officers, compromised the safety of the operation, the VCP operation. As a result of that, the officers made the determination to use a power that they have in law, which is the removal of an obstruction. If something causes an obstruction to a public thoroughfare, an officer can order to have it removed, particularly if there is failing to remove it.
Now, where this event was?
It was, I don't know what that road name, but a district,
you mean the COI open up? Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so, my understanding is because of the congestion, officers realizing the congestion, wanting to continue carrying out the execution of their VCP operation, the determination was made by the senior officer to remove vehicles, which he is duly empowered to do in the law. Here is where I give the police some flack. Don't give people free airtime. If you have a VCP operation plan, how long will this little thing last? 2 hours? Just move it 2 hours. In 2 hours from now, this guy will be out of your way. And who knows, you may catch a criminal that you didn't intend to catch in your original window. Unless, of course, you are acting on some specific intelligence. You follow me? But if all you are doing is a random VCP, then I suspect that any random 2 hours would work. Are you with me on it?
Okay.
But it doesn't benefit you to be right and to execute poor judgment. You know that this is a crowd of rabble-rousers. And if you leave it to them, they will create fanfare of the whole thing. Let their little thing dissipate, and when it's done,
afterwards,
you go and execute the VCP. Seems fair to me. There's no need to blow air into people's hot air balloon. We'll be back. Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, on channel 224, or on channel 112, or on ILTV Studios, wherever you are listening to us, whether it is on cable, Flow TV, or on Facebook. Thank you for listening to us. I'm not saying that to you if you are already listening to me, because you already know our call signs. I'm saying that so that you can get on your phone and call your friend and tell your friend to cut off that other nonsense and come over here and listen to us at Freedom March, where ultimately the goal is to, inform, to educate, and periodically to entertain. Bradley Roll, the spiritual advisor, is still here with me in studio. Bradley Roll, do we have birthdays today?
Are we ready? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, we got a couple of birthdays.
All right, let's do birthdays.
Let's see. Who do we have here first? Where are we at? Okay, there you go. Holland Hannah. Happy birthday to my son. Holland Hannah is coming from his mom, Tracy, and daughter, Syria, his sister, Libya, and his brother, Walter, and mom, number 2, Jackie. All right, so happy birthday to Holland Hannah. Kenuel Farrington. Happy birthday goes out to Kenuel Farrington, who's celebrating his 32nd birthday. It's coming from his mom, Edris Miller, his brothers, Harry Watson, Beecham and Benoit and Blade, Brennan, his godmother, Kendra, his nieces and nephews. They're asking you if you could enjoy your birthday. So happy birthday to Kenuel Farrington. Aldika Colbrook, happy birthday to Aldika Colbrook, who's celebrating her birthday today.
The Valley Girl.
It's coming from her mother, Annie, her brother, Sergeant Philip, her sister, producer, what's that? Anash. Oh, man, why don't y'all just give people names you can call? Anashanique. ANNASHIQUE. Is that? Oh, man.
So, like, not names that matter to them.
What's that? Anashanique? Anashanique. Anashi?
Just say
I'm sorry.
name.
I can't pronounce his name. It's spelled ANNA. That's Anna. Also, that's Anashanique. Okay.
Anashanique, yeah.
That's what they tell you to break it down, eh? It's coming from her sister, Anashanique, her sister-in-law, her niece, her aunts, uncles, her family members, and of course, co-workers at the Ministry of Education and all the Valley Boys group. Now, which one though?
Listen,
you're there.
listen, the one sanctioned, the sanctioned one.
Is this the way forward, or
the one that is sanctioned?
It's coming. Oh, okay, your dearest aunt, Gertland. Okay, so happy birthday, Aldika Colbrook. So, luckily that's it, eh?
Is that it?
That looks like all the birthday shout-outs for the day.
All right. Well, if that is it, then I want to say a special birthday shout-out to my friend, Petty Officer Simone Mackey, who is celebrating her birthday. And I never forget her birthday because her birthday is on the day that I went to the Exuma Land and Sea Park for the first time. So that's how I always remember. I remember the first time I went to the Land and Sea Park. I was a young able seaman. I was there with, at the time, leading seaman Kevin Seymour and, what was his name? Marine seaman Lathan Bastian. And I remember Kevin Seymour cooked for me like no one could believe. And we just went out there and we executed left, right, and center. Lone, big-time arrest. We wasn't pulling no punches out there when we went. And everybody was on their best behavior because they knew that we was the long arm of the law and that there would be no getting away from us. And so to my friend, Simone Mackey, Simone Victoria Mackey, that's the name, you know. I'm a name of that in the passport. Happy birthday, my friend. I trust that at some point when I get out of this place, we shall come together in Holy Communion. Yeah? Fantastic stuff. Special advisor, while we were on the break, something else came to my mind when I thought about the COI's launch and their running in with the police, right? Because I know someone will refute my claim and say, well, why the police needed to have the VCP then? All kind of things happening around here, people murdering. Why?
Which is true, you know.
Go look for
when you really look at it, Was that coincidental or deliberate?
Well, the police have their operations. There's nothing. I don't believe that the police
That is something
is
to think about.
targeting them. But could you imagine?
But it looks that way.
But
It
watch
does.
this.
It does seem as
Having
if
the police at your event is never something anybody shuns. As a matter of fact, do you know what it costs to engage the Police Staff Association for security? Quite a bit of money. So if the police were free at your event, at least no one could thief nobody battery. When Pookie them thief my battery and my bumper and all my children gift out the car and saw fans gift out the car on my birthday, right? You know how heartbroken I was? I was left bewildered. Could you imagine with all of the euphoria in the air that was the launch of the COIs coming together? I mean, they paint the building and all, Lincoln said. Lincoln said even he had no ceiling. We take roadside money and put light and air conditioning in here. I don't know how you'd be fixing up a rented
drive.
I don't know how you'd be fixing up a rented building with that kind of effort, but whatever, right? Could you imagine if you come out of there and meet your front bumper going? Because Spooky them don't mess around. But at least you know that if His Majesty's peace officers were on that corner, that the one thing that couldn't happen was that you couldn't become the victim of crime.
When this happened?
The day of the launch, spiritual advisor.
I wish there was that again now.
Oh boy. Wasn't it Saturday?
Okay, now I could tell you this. Then this is on the road that goes to the Humane Society?
Yes.
All right. Now, the police sometimes normally be
They
there.
are always there.
Yeah. So
As a matter
but
of
it's
fact,
only be two fellas on bicycle.
two fellas on a bicycle.
Yeah.
That's how you know I'm lying. And usually two fellas on a bicycle.
Who was there this time?
I don't know, but I'm saying to you that VCP,
Yeah. Okay.
VCPs in that area are quite common to me.
Who, VCP?
Vehicle checkpoints.
Okay. Yeah, they did there. They're normally there. But I normally see them there during the day though. Because they're on,
As a matter of fact, as I go into my memory bank, I could almost tell you the days that did.
Yeah, so if you
I only ain't announcing the day because I don't want Pookie them gain the intelligence from me.
So if you're leaving the Humane Society and you're headed to go onto West Bay Street, there's a curve, it's blind. You can't see them.
As soon as you level off,
as soon as you come around, you see these two fellas on
Babel and Bubs and his friend
on the bicycle.
Yeah.
But they're normally there during the day, not at night though. They don't be at
They're
night.
usually there right until the sun begins to set.
Okay. So you need to find out when this event took place. Because, all right, now I understand. But
so I can't say that
they
it's
may not
targeted
have
because
been
the police
targeted,
efforts are usually in this area. Yeah? And all I'm saying to the police is while you are right, sometimes it is just better to let someone go because they are more of a nuisance than it is worth to be right in this instance. Because they weren't breaking any law. But if they weren't breaking any law, then they should be happy to see the police, in my view. When I see His Majesty's peace officers, like, you remember that one time Corporal Rowe locked me up? I was so ecstatic to see him. It was wonderful. I said, "Hello, Corporal, how can I help you?" When he told me he was locking me up, and he did it so professionally. When he said he was locking me up, I said, "Wow, I can't believe I'm being locked up right now." You know, because I'm such a law-abiding citizen, I couldn't think about anything that Corporal Rowe would want to lock me up for. But he locked me up professionally. He took me to the Grove Police Station. I had never been detained that professionally in all of my adult life from my born. And I've come out, and ever since that day, what if I keep telling you, spiritual advisor?
But you want them to lock you up.
If you are gonna get locked up, you insist that they lock you up at the Grove Police Station. Insist. And tell them, if they can't guarantee that you'll be locked up at the Grove Police Station, then you don't want to be locked up no more. I'm telling you, it's that fantastic. And that is what I found, right? And so, you know, to the police officers, I say sometimes, what Mama them used to say, you gotta give up the right for the wrong.
Yep.
That's what Mama them say. Sometimes you just gotta give up the right for the wrong. I don't really know what that means in English, but that's my piece of advice. All right, let's go to my last clip. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the differences between two things, spiritual advisor. And this isn't me, this is ChatGPT. I want to talk to you about the difference between an assassin, you with me? And a hitman.
Okay.
And I want to publicly state that I am a political assassin.
Okay.
Good. But I am wary of political hitmen. I am disgusted by political hitmen. I am enraged when I see political hitmen. Why? Because it lacks rapport, it lacks decorum, it lacks decency, it lacks ethics, it lacks scruples. And it tells me that you have no interest in anything other than the immediacy of your satisfaction. So I want the electorate to learn early as we head toward the political season whose voice to hear and whose voice to trust. Because there are some people that are moving around, and as I begin to hear their voices, I'm not exactly sure if I trust them anymore. Because some of these things I hear them saying just sounds hitmanish to me. And I am opposed to political hitmen. I am opposed to people that will say anything just for the political gain. I am opposed to people that speak from their lips without a scintilla of conviction. I am opposed to people that is go big grown man for lunch money downtown so that the big grown man could get them to tell lies. As a political assassin, I want to tell you this. No one could pay Levan Miller to lie on you. That's what I want to say. You with me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
But similarly, and in the same breath of air, as a political assassin, my friend, you can't pay me to lie for you. Because in my view, I have to always ensure that the people trust my voice. And so if I say it, it's because that is exactly what I believed at the time that I said it. Oh, but rest you be assured that at any point I perceive differently, hurriedly, I will come and lay new evidence prostrate before the people, and I will let them decide. Because I learned this one thing, I learned this from the same person I get the McCoby from. We make the very best decisions in life with the information that is available to us. And so we are never failing. We are only in a situation where we either need to find new facts to help our decision making or decide that this is something that we no longer want to deal with. And that's what I learned. You see, even in bad situations, you can find good things. And so I went to ChatGPT because I like ChatGPT. It's wonderful. And I asked ChatGPT, here, what are the 3 key differences between an assassin and a hitman? Chief among them is the motivation. An assassin is often driven by ideology, politics, religion, or personal conviction. Think of a historical or fictional figure who killed for the sake of their belief. A hitman, conversely, his primary motivation is money. It is a transactional relationship, and they will kill anyone for cash. There is no deeper cause involved. Who is the target profile? I love ChatGPT. This is wonderful. Why didn't they make this when I was in primary school? An assassin usually targets high-profile individuals, political leaders, activists, or symbolic figures. The goal is often to make a statement. A hitman can be hired to eliminate anyone from any rival gang or any member of a cheating spouse. The target is chosen by the client with the highest pay to the killer. Cultural and historical roots. An assassin. The term has ancient roots tracing all the way back to, where is this? Hashashin, a secret sector in the Middle East. It carries a mystique and often implies specialized training and a code of conduct and ethics. Wow. A hitman, conversely, is a modern Western term that emerged from organized crime circles, and it suggests a cold killer with no ideological ties to anything. You see the difference? And so I went on and I asked, I'm going to play the clip, what makes an assassin any better morally than a hitman? Let's play the clip.
Night by the Free National Movement for that constituency. No. However, though, let's look at Jomo Campbell. How has he performed? How has he showed up in this term?
He better get the fellas who he took care of to go walk the road for him this time. They could be Leslie Miller.
What happened?
They could be Dave either. So, you know,
well, what
it's payback time.
Hold on, wait. Look like some
one
falling
hand
out.
wash the other.
And that one place.
All East Street where we been, all them times we've been through there, walking the streets, with you every day, for weeks, on Sunday too.
It ain't just the F&M getting slapped up around here, as you all can see. Now, what's up with Jomo?
He got his boys. He can do all right. He got his boys to go with him.
When you
yeah, but Leslie, but you made the statement that basically like he didn't fulfill promises or wasn't a good MP or what?
I don't have nothing to say about him.
What?
I don't have nothing to say about him.
I think he had a lot of potential. The potential never came to the forefront. When he took on the Golden Yoke program, he got it from Clay.
Still looking for the first egg.
We're still looking for eggs on our plate.
And they said egg already
hatched? That's what they say, but I ain't got it yet. But I just saying.
You mean the birds would be the eggs what he bought from Dominican Republic that Reuben Roberts had to dump?
When you go through
Reuben Roberts had to dump.
That was super value eggs.
Yeah, Reuben Roberts super value.
But wasn't that wasn't Golden Oak egg? That was super value eggs from Dominican Republic, I believe.
That's an egg program they had. But yeah. When you go on East Street down there by Windsor Park, you go on the opposite side of the west side, they had one big little float thing with trucks with Jomo Campbell on it, and they was making a little noise with the DJ, and the people looking at them like, what they into? Ain't nobody on they run through there.
And so I don't understand. I don't get it. Because that is not what I found to be the case when I've gone to check. And so my question is, what do you mean when you say it's payback time? What exactly was your wage? What do you mean when you say that he hasn't produced a single egg from the Golden Yoke? If it was communicated in the budget that Shaw has layers, H.O. Nash has layers, Grand Bahama has layers, that there's a feed mill that has been built, that there are houses for hen houses to be kept that has been built. I get it. It's been 4 years. But if you go into farming any at all, you know that farming takes a bit of time. And I don't really understand what do you mean when you say he should take the other people to go walking with him, because now I want to know what exactly do Bahamians want from a politician? And so I asked ChatGPT, what makes an assassin any better morally than a hitman? And they say the intent and the ideology. An assassin is often portrayed as acting on behalf of a cause, liberation, justice, or sometimes vengeance for a greater good. A hitman, by contrast, kills for profit. Their actions are transactional with no moral compass beyond the size of a paycheck. Some would argue that fighting for a cause, even though violent, carries more moral weight than killing for cash. But that depends on whether the cause is just or just self-righteous. Target justification. Assassins typically go after a symbolic figure like dictators or warlords or corrupt officials whose removal is meant to shift the balance of power to prevent harm, versus a hitman who is hired to kill whoever the client wants, regardless of whether the target is guilty of what he is accused. So while both kill, the assassin targets might be seen as deserving in some narratives, whereas the hitman's targets could be anyone for any reason. The moral code. Many fictional assassins, they call a bunch of names that I won't call, follow a strict personal code. They only kill the guilty, and they avoid collateral damage at all costs. That's why I tell y'all, if y'all don't nominate Miami, I was gonna shoot the slingshot out of her head. But y'all ain't nominate Miami. So, that's the only collateral damage I would have to keep my eye on. A hitman, especially in media, are often depicted as emotionally detached, morally neutral, tools to whoever pays them. The code doesn't make killing right, but it introduces a framework to restrain that some might view as moral distinction. Take me to the advisory from Water and Sewage. Urgent notice, New Providence, Arawaki. The corporation will conduct a distribution maintenance exercise on Arawaki over 2 nights, Tuesday, July 1st and Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. As a result, customers in the following areas may experience disruption in service: West Bay Street, The Grove West, Track Street at St. Albans Drive, portions of Bain and Grandstown, Wolf Road, and Bay Street. That's in the Nassau Street to Montague area. System isolation begins at 11:30 p.m. nightly, and full restoration is expected by 4 a.m. Motorists are advised to avoid Arawaki near the Western Bridge during this period. The corporation apologizes for any inconvenience caused and appreciate your patience as we work to improve the level of service. This advisory is as a direct result of the water hydrant installation at the Arawaki, which comes under the direct carriage of Jomo Campbell. And spiritual advisor, and you put the camera on the spiritual advisor, and spiritual advisor, I understand that the people have been asking for water hydrant for 32 years.
I never got it.
And the whole of Arawaki is one big grill waiting to light a fire.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they asked for it in the last 5 years.
The water right there, though.
Yes, but our trucks cannot pump salt water. Did you know that?
Okay.
So
now when they order these pieces, make sure they get trucks.
It ain't gonna matter because there's going to be a high pressure charge set of water hydrants on Arawaki proper to prevent there from being a matter where there is an emergency and we cannot respond, but similarly to protect the investments of the investors at Arawaki. And can you guess whose tenure it is coming under? So what do people want from a minister of agriculture? The only thing I recall from ministers of agriculture over the course of my life history is growing onions. I don't remember golden yoke, water hydrant, sewer upgrade. I never remember no minister of agriculture pulling this off. Leafy green, 85% operations at Arawaki. The bathrooms at Arawaki are never closed.
But not always working.
What you mean? They wouldn't be open if they were not working.
But remember now, remember the day of the parade. When we ended that parade at Arawaki, I went into the men's room and I took photos of 5 urinals that was not working. They were covered with plastic.
Where did you pee? Where did you pee?
What you mean?
Where did you pee?
I'm not gonna say.
Where did you pee?
I had to go outside.
I thought you were safe.
Yeah,
I thought you
I took the photos.
Where did you pee, man?
I'm gonna resurrect those photos. We can show them on the TV today.
Oh boy!
Yeah, don't try.
If you peed in a toilet bowl, you were in a working bathroom.
Yeah, they wasn't always working.
Oh man, we'll be back after this break.
Let me get these photos.
Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Levan Miller. Bradley Roll is with me in studio. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM or on channel 224 or on channel 112, whether you're on cable or flow or on ILTV Studios. That's over there on Facebook. So, I took you through the gamut of the difference between an assassin and a hitman. And before we open the phone lines, producer, take me to the video of the road work, please. You have it? Yeah, the one with the hammer. And here you see the member of parliament. I don't even know why members of parliament need to do this. But let me assure you, now take me through the rest of the stuff, that if you ever elected me as your member of parliament, Joycelyn grandson ain't swinging no mallet nowhere, in no road, in no summer heat. And if that's what it takes to be elected, then my friend, let me just go right back in this, because I didn't do most of the things in my life I had planned to do. I don't joke when I say that. Everything that I told myself that I would do as a 9th grade student, when Greg Cash, a PE teacher, asked us in the 9th grade when our math teacher didn't show up for school, and he said to us, write down where you plan to be in 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that I am exactly where I said I would be. Thank you very much, Mr. Greg Cash. Presently exists in my mind, my head, and my heart no political ambition. Notwithstanding that, I remain open to the call of God and the will of the people of the Bahamas. But I will tell the people of the Bahamas this: Joycelyn grandson don't swing mallet. So if swinging a mallet is what it will take, then I will never be voted for. And it is as simple as that. So when I hear people say, and let me also clear this up, this is not a poke at our sister show at this station. But just like how I won't let Jamal get away with saying that he's a better candidate than Darren Hanfield without a single scintilla, without a shred of tested evidence to substantiate that claim, there is no way I'm about to let my friend and my brother, Leslie Miller, say the things that he said. Not untested. Just not untested. And I invite people to hold me to the same standard. Everywhere I go, no matter what I do, when I meet people that tell me they watch Freedom March, like Dr. Shanique Davis, I say to them often, do me one favor in all of your watching. Keep me honest. That is what I require. And so I think it is a bit unfounded, the claims made. And I'm just saying, I'm not calling him or his co-contributor hitman, no. But what I am saying is, in this period of the electoral cycle, you've got to be very discerning, because not all of us are assassins. I will raise my hand. Levan Miller is a political assassin. There are some people that under no circumstance do I intend to let go uncontested into the House of Parliament. But I will certainly tell you this: notwithstanding my dissatisfaction, disapproval, or disbelief in them and their candidacy, nobody could pay me to lie on them. Similarly, because of my disbelief, my disapproval, and what's the other D word I use? And the other D word I use, they can't pay me to lie for them. And I want the electorate to consider that as we go towards the May 5th general election of 2026. All right?
So who's the assassin and who is the hitman?
Well, I think assassins, according to ChatGPT.
Leslie Miller's the assassin?
I'm not calling him an assassin.
And
I'm saying...
another guy's hitman.
No.
Because the hitman is motivated by money only.
Right. And so I'm saying that as the electorate becomes more engaged, as we go towards the finish line, May 5th, 2026, the electorate has to become more discerning about who among us are political assassins and who among us are, in my view, political hitmen. Because political hitmen, you know, like the Israelites, will go whoring after things of the flesh.
That's money.
Filthy lucre, yeah. And so?
Producer, just to show that I'm not lying.
Yeah.
You have those photos? Put them up. Yeah, the bathrooms will be open, but...
Hold on, no, you're making a new claim, spiritual advisor.
See, but then
because what I want to know is if the bathroom was closed.
It's for them in that one particular bathroom that wasn't working.
Yes.
When I visited. Okay.
Okay. Now, would you like the story behind it?
Okay.
So
there's the fourth one.
Before Jomo Campbell came to office.
This happened
before Jomo Campbell came to office. Yeah. Listen to me.
Labor Day.
Yes. Listen to me. Before Jomo Campbell came to office, there was a minister of agriculture by the name of Michael C. Pintard. I think Clifton is his middle name. That minister of agriculture decided that they wanted to put hands-free urinals and toilets in the bathroom. Wonderful idea. Brilliant. Splendid, as a matter of fact. Regrettably, the contractor that they picked bought European parts or European fixtures. Regrettably, it takes 12 to 16 weeks to order parts for piss pots.
Why does it take that long?
Because Michael Clifton Pintard...
Not in this modern world we live in. That don't make no sense.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, you go get it from the supplier before the time.
Unless there's
the supplier say he need 12 weeks.
Something ain't right.
You don't want me to find out what's wrong with it? Put it back up. I like to tell the truth. Put the urinal them back up. So had Michael Clifton Pintard not authorized the purchase of these ridiculous piss pots, we wouldn't be in a position where Jomo will have to be struggling every couple of weeks trying to keep these electronic things up and running. But the question I asked was, where did you pee?
That's a PM.
What? No, man. You levy claims against Jomo. Are you hitman?
No.
Are you a political hitman?
No. I'm not levying any claims against
anybody.
You
say Jomo have the bathroom open but they ain't waking.
I did not say
that.
And
all I asked is if the bathroom ain't waking, then where did you pee?
No, we talk about the fish fry. We didn't discuss the minister. Don't do that. He's my friend.
I was talking about the minister.
Well, he's my friend.
You was here with me?
Yeah, well, don't do that.
Oh,
we're discussing the fish fry.
Okay, how did you get in a closed bathroom?
Who runs the fish fry right now as we speak?
Jomo Campbell.
No. Who's the manager? Who manages it?
Jomo Campbell. All of the successes.
They have a person who's contracted to manage the fish fry. Who's that person?
The contract for the fish fry right now is actually in transition. So the person that is daily.
So you're not there anymore?
I don't want to call the person's name.
Okay.
Because I don't know if they want their name on TV.
Well, that's the person who I want to speak with because he's responsible for that.
Yeah. But I want to tell you something. When Michael Clifton Pintard was the minister, they had porta potties out on the sidewalk for weeks on end. They had sewer water running over 6,000 gallons of it a day into the ocean. Yeah? When Michael Clifton Pintard was the minister of agriculture. And I understand all these things was on the drawing board. That's why I get kicked out of art. I don't go to no drawing school, so I don't even know where to go look for a drawing board. But praise be to God. All they do is put Jomo in charge. And as soon as Jomo get in charge, guess what? 32 years later, Jomo and, what the other minister name? The one who in charge of the Han and Kimber Brigade.
Oh, immigration?
No, that's the waste snatching brigade.
Oh, okay. Oh, the Minister of Works.
Leon Lundy. And the Han and Kimber Brigade, I love them so much. Every time Minister Leon Lundy and the Han and Kimber Brigade pull up. Yeah.
Water and sewage. Okay.
They could fix up things. My goodness. I don't know how they get that good at it. All they just do, you say, hey, we need a fire hydrant. Han and Kimber Brigade pull up. Everybody come out. You know what they just do? jump out their Jeep. When they jump out the Jeep, you know what has happened? They take their hand and they put it in their kimber, just like this. And they say, wow, you need a fire hydrant. You say, I know, that's what I tell you all in the email. They say, all right, Miller, don't move. And the kimber brigade jump back in the Jeep. All you see is black Jeep, black Jeep, black Jeep. They gone. As sure as rain water does grow corn, spiritual advisor. You give them 48 hours, trucked up. And so you will see, beginning tonight and tomorrow night, the people of Arawaki will have access to a supercharged set of fire hydrants at the Arawaki for the first time in 32 years to ensure that those timber buildings do not burn to the ground. And can I tell you who is getting it? So if Jomo getting the chicken them up and running, if Jomo putting the fire hydrant out, and if Jomo swinging sledgehammer in the middle of the road, what else they want Jomo to do? That's the only question I have. But let's see if Shannon on Cartwright can call us and tell us that Greg Burrows didn't call him a liar, because that's what I got from the call yesterday. The Greg Burrows said, this Shannon on boy, this lie. And I want him to don't lie on my name. Whoever got the old bear doll, whatever that thing is y'all put in my throat just now, ha, you missed me. Let's take the phone call. 323-777-569-80775. We got calls on the line? As soon as we get them, let's take them. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Rowe?
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm talking to you. I was listening to Mr. Miller just now. He was asking you how could you pee, right? But he shouldn't have...
But when magic run out, let's try the magic again.
You should have gone to the bath.
Whew. My whistle. Barabbas! What kind of whistle is this? If you prefer to listen to me, then don't listen to me. Why you sit there for 2 hours and listen to me? By the power of Grayskull. Boom! May you have gas pain in your navel tonight.
She was trying to make a point. I was wondering what the point was.
No, you can't start off offending the host of the show. That don't make sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to Freedom
You don't
March.
call the police control room and say, now, I know y'all don't solve no crime, but some people through my corner. Okay. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to Freedom March. Caller, you gonna be okay?
Hey, Mr. Miller.
Hey.
You want to do first is on this show, man?
How you gonna call me and curse me out? Like you don't know I have power and might. Oh Lord, somebody find the caller. You gonna be alright, caller? You alright? Come back here.
Okay, Mr.
Hey.
Mr. Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Advisor. Mr. Special Advisor, you alright today?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm fine. Listen,
Great.
what I want to find out, what breeze blow Darren Henfield, the sitting member of Parliament, Abaco, in Nassau to come run in So Beach?
Mussy was the 200-mile-an-hour gust from Dorian.
I want to know what breeze blow him inside to come running So Beach.
I just tell you.
I don't know why he coming running So Beach.
I know.
That was a party.
The thing about it is, he even ain't do nothing for So Beach.
So
but you could see it and you could see everything what Barker's doing for So Beach.
Yeah, because Barker's a member of Parliament, ma'am. Come
Yeah,
on,
but
now.
he's
Let's
a
be
member.
reasonable.
He's supposed to...
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. The party decides that they're going to send Darren Henfield to run in South Beach. If
He's a certain member of Abaco, and he ain't do nothing for Abaco.
Right.
So he comes from Abaco to come here to South Beach to think he could be in South Beach, eh? But he got a good thing coming. He'll be waiting right here for him.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. You take care of yourself.
I know the phone lines are open, producer, but I want to show you this clip, spiritual advisor. You have the clip ready for me, producer? The clip with the Commissioner of Police. Let's go to the clip with the Commissioner of Police.
Friday, 27th of June 2025, we received certain information. Acting on that information, we mounted an operation along with Bahamas Customs officers. Around 3 p.m., we began the operation, and shortly before 5 p.m., we stopped a vehicle in the western portion of New Providence. Upon searching that vehicle, which contained a number of household appliances, we found what you see here today. 25 firearms, illegal firearms, an assortment of ammunition. I think it's 5,216 rounds of ammunition, and 49.6 pounds of marijuana. This is what was taken from our streets on the weekend. At this present time, we have one person in custody, and we'll continue to investigate this matter.
And so the Commissioner of Police is seen there with an assortment of illegal firearms that came in a shipment of household items. And I thought that was the clip where she talked about a quantity of the guns being ghost guns, because that's actually what I wanted to help people understand. What is a ghost gun? A ghost gun is a gun that is made up at home of an assortment of pieces, and all of the serial numbers from all of the parts are taken off of the gun. So there is no way to trace the gun. You cannot trace it back to an original owner, right? Which is how you know rich people doing it. Yeah. And so I just wanted to offer some clarity on that. If we had it in the clip where she said, we got your gun. Is that in the first clip? We got your gun, we got your drugs, and we got your money.
Well, it's a massive win for authorities tonight as a tip led investigators to a grand drug and firearm shipment imported from abroad. And as police continue to have their hands tied with crime, they say it's one step closer to ceasing the gunfire. Lyndon Ritchie Jr. has the details on this.
We got your guns, we have your marijuana, we have your ammunition, and my team will now be coming to look for you.
What you're looking at is tightly packaged marijuana totaling some $190,400, along with 25 weapons and over 5,000 rounds of ammunition, all of it bagged and hidden in a number of household appliances now uncovered by authorities in a sting operation. Police, in collaboration with the Bahamas Customs Department, reported that a vehicle carrying the illegal drugs and firearms was intercepted in the Western District. Where the contraband came from and how it was shipped is still under investigation. Police say they're remaining tight-lipped for now. Commissioner of Police Shanta Knowles outlining just how dangerous of a shipment these clever criminals were hoping to move.
2 of them are revolvers, 11 of them are pistols, one of which is a ghost gun. 12 of them are rifles, 9 of which are ghost guns, 29 magazines.
And with these weapons now out of the hands of those who contribute to bloodshed, the top cop had this message for Bahamians.
We are out there working. We're working every bit of information that the public shares with us. And this is what happens when we have partnership with the public.
Officials say they do have a clear idea of who they're looking for in connection with the bust, but their identities will be revealed at a later date. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
And so, spiritual advisor and everybody out there, a ghost gun is a gun whose frame is privately made, often made at home, and it has no serial number. Therefore, it is untraceable by law enforcement. Ghost guns are typically pieces of a gun that aren't considered a weapon or a firearm until you assemble them together completely. Then it becomes a firearm. Why are they so controversial? They have no serial number, and in many jurisdictions, the parts that you buy do not require a license or a background check. So it becomes quite a bit of an uphill climb for law enforcement to trace the weapon when it is used. And just so you know, she said that they are rifles. When she say rifle, she ain't mean the kind your granddaddy got home. She mean the kind Pookie them just jump out of the box seat of the Swift with their 2 foot, because Pookie them is the only people I know who 2 foot could come out the car one time. They must have learned that in criminal school. So when Pookie and Blacks them riding around and they jump out, that's the kind of rifle the commissioner mean. All right? And you could imagine if we can't trace them, how we ever get any convictions on Pookie them or anybody else for that matter. And so I'm very happy that they busted that shipment. But if I could offer the commissioner a single piece of advice, I want to say to you, Madam Commissioner, in 2025, we need a text hotline, a national text hotline. Why? Because the other day when I saw a license plate number, what was the license plate I saw? 5180, I think it was. I wanted to call the police so bad, but by the time as I get on the phone with 919, the car would have been gone and all kind of other things. I wanted to take a picture of the car, but if I took a picture, who would I send it to? And I think if we had a national WhatsApp crime line, people could just send you locations and information. So I could take a picture of the car with Pookie them. You'll see a clear picture of the license plate. I could drop you a location from where I am and say vehicle headed west. And now all of your units somewhere in that area could be looking for this license plate with Pookie them who just run out of the house and jump in it, because it ain't no, they don't look like they're going to church to me. And I want the Commissioner of Police to be aware of wherever a black march is, with Plot Up Head, Pookie, and Tall Boy in it, I'm very afraid. And now I want her to come and see this, because I suspect they're going to pick up blacks. And once they pick up blacks, spiritual advisor, you know what I suspect is going to happen next? Crime and criminality. And so, Madam Commissioner, just like how we have a text line here that people could text us from all around the whole Bahamas, we might need to get zoned ones. And then that way your officers could use some technology in this fight against crime. Especially if Pookie them killing one another with ghost guns, spiritual advisor. That's very serious. I take that very serious. That is very serious.
Indeed.
Yeah. Let's go back to the phone line. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March. Not there? Caller, you there?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'd like to speak with spiritual advisor off here. I left the number already.
Okay,
All right,
no problem.
I'll call you. You left the number of the producer?
You call me.
All right. Let's take another phone call. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Hello.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, man. I thought, what is called when election next year and the campaign is trying to show that they're doing something?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I live in Stanleyville.
Mm-hmm.
The whole being here from last year, Thanksgiving, a couple of months or so, I put that whole to the road.
From last year Thanksgiving?
I tell you, for that.
Okay.
And I can tell you, you can come out and do survey, and ask someone to my neighbors, someone bring up their car, so if being left alone, that it's spread on both sides of the road.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're trying to give it, trying to make it big. They're doing something, in and out, you know?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, caller. I couldn't understand what you're saying.
He says that the whole of Jomo fixing been there from November. He ain't know where Jomo just come from fixing this hole, because he called Rodney in November to tell Rodney about that hole.
Okay.
Yeah. We have time for another call. Let's go to another call. Someone just asked me online, what is my whistle for? My whistle is for crime. Turn on your radio, caller. Let's take another call. 323-7775. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good evening.
Is it interesting to know that we found all these guns in the West District, but yet they yet have to reveal the name of the person with all these guns?
Well, the commissioner said that she's going to reveal the name as soon as the investigation is finished.
How much time have you heard that before?
I don't know. I don't know how much times I've actually followed it, but I mean, I could follow this.
That would be good. I suspect this person is not a Bahamian or Haitian. That is my suspicion.
That could be possible. I share that suspicion with you. How does that sound?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Yeah. So as soon as we get a name, I'll be sure to track it for you. I promise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Someone asked me offline, spiritual advisor, what is my whistle for? My whistle is because Brave tell me anytime I see something that look like it getting a little out of hand, whistle, and it should just go right back to normal. Yeah. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, Dave. Dave, are you a hitman?
Pardon?
Are you a political hitman?
No, man. I'm just here. Lauren still beat the bottom. Nothing is nothing more. Pardon?
I hear what you say just now, Dave. You sound like when so far asked me a question.
I'm just saying, Lauren still beat the bottom. Nothing else, nothing more, okay?
Okay, very good.
Yeah. Spiritual, yeah?
Yeah, he been here the whole show, Dave. You want me listening?
Spiritual advisor.
Yes, sir.
Why you all double crossing everybody? I said, why you do to Jamal Moss, man? My God.
Do what exactly?
Why you worried
Why
about that?
Why double cross Jamal Moss? Jamal Moss was an FNM for 20 years, man. Down Enfield, Charlie Brown.
Why is that a concern for you, though, Dave?
No.
Why are you concerned about that?
National issues. Right now, I go to capital right now to make sure Bacchus run the boy on the town. Okay?
Dave, you are a hitman. All
No,
right?
man.
You are. Because I don't know why you're concerned about that. That has nothing to do with you.
I'm concerned because, listen, Jamal Moss and me and Penny Bottles, he for the FNM at the PLP. My God, man. The man was campaign and the mid-miles race, the mid-miles race, the man found 30 minutes before ratification.
So you feel sorry for him?
All right. Anyway, Dave, thank you very much. Well, all you got to do is don't be a teacup token boy, and then you wouldn't have people trying to get you because they don't know where your loyalty lies. Just do what you just do. Anyway, that's the show. We had a jingle. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Freedom March.